I've been playing outdoors since I was a kid, standing by the front door at around 2 years old, hollering, side, 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 trying to get my mom to let me go play outside. Now, after 30 plus years working in the outdoor business, I'm dropping insider conversations every week with the brand leaders, guides, marketers, CEOs, and others to make the outdoor industry a trillion-dollar juggernaut that drives product innovation, revenue, and public policy for everything outdoors. I'm Rick Sayes. Welcome to the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to episode 437 of the Outdoor Biz Podcast, brought to you by OWAA Kayak, high-performance folding kayaks for all types of paddlers. Today I'm talking with Chez Chesak. Chez is an award-winning adventure travel writer and 20-plus year veteran of the outdoor and travel industries. He's also executive director of the Outdoor Writers Association of America. As a writer, his words and images have appeared in a variety of major newspapers, popular magazines, websites, and he also does periodic travel segments for the morning show of his local Fox affiliate and American Forces Radio. Welcome to the show, Chez.
Hey, happy to be here.
Great to have you on again. I think, is this your third appearance? I didn't look that up. I think it might be your third appearance.
Ooh, wow. Maybe. Definitely second.
Definitely
third.
second. Definitely second. Yeah, might be third. Yeah. We might have done an on-the-fly thing at one of the events, possibly. Which
that could be
the second.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hate to ask you this question again because we've told it once, but there's a lot of new listeners now. So tell us about your career in the outdoor industry. How did you get started?
I got started. I love this story. A former girlfriend and I, we took a trip out to Aspen. She had a high school buddy who was a chef out there. We went out there. We crashed at his condo, dirtbag style. He snuck us into his restaurant. We were flying back home, and we were just like, oh man, how do we make the outdoors our life? And the first thing we could do is we could get a part-time job at an REI. This was the Bailey's Crossroads REI in DC. And we both started off selling bikes. And then pretty soon, a friend of a friend told me that there was an organization called American Hiking Society, and they were looking for a development director. And I'm like, you can work at a place that's a hiking society? And fortunately, I got the job there. That led to a job at the American Alpine Club out in Golden, Colorado. That ultimately led to working for Winter Wildlands Alliance in Boise, Idaho, who my then girlfriend was running, now wife. And then, it took a little side trip to Iraq in 2005 with the Army National Guard.
Nice little
Came
vacation
back.
there.
What's that?
Nice little vacation there.
Yeah, some adventure travel,
Right.
which prepped me to go work for the Adventure Travel Trade Association. I was there for about 9 years. And then from there, I've always been passionate about storytelling and writing, and started getting into the writing side of things and being a freelancer. And somebody told me about the Outdoor Writers Association of America and that they were looking for an executive director. When I got the job description, I was like looking over my shoulder. I was like, Am I being punked? Like, this is
Somebody write this for me?
Yeah, this is my entire career all laid out. Like, everything they're asking for, I've done that. So it's been a really great fit for me with the organization, and I certainly keep freelancing on the side as much as I'm able.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're doing a great job with OWAA. I didn't know anything about them before you joined and got me involved, and it's just been continuous improvement. And it's always fun, and so congrats on that. It's got to be fun too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's been a tremendous amount of work, but certainly a labor of love.
Yeah, you inherited it. It was a little on the downslope of things, I think, and then you.
I'll only say this. I was super excited when I read the job description. The whole concept of the organization was really exciting, and then I went to the then website, and I was just like, oh no, maybe this isn't something, because if the website was that bad, what kind of work you have ahead of you with everything else. And it was pretty grim. But those days are behind us, and it's been almost 5 years now.
Kicking butt, yeah. And it's interesting. It's not surprising that they were having a tough time, because it's been around. It's been around for 100 years. I mean, it's been around forever.
Almost 100 years. Yeah. Founded in 1927.
Yeah.
That's why it's still called the Outdoor Writers Association. Our previous logo, and the organization has deep roots in the hunt fish side of the industry. So the previous logo was a shotgun, a fly rod, and a typewriter.
Cool. Perfect
I
for the
love it.
times.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. You
but
should do
but
some
these
retro
days,
shirts.
oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a
Particularly for our 100th anniversary, which we'll be kicking
exactly.
off. We'll kick that off in actually 2026. So we'll have two of our conferences will focus on our 100th anniversary of 2026, looking at our 100-year history, or at that point, nearly 100-year history.
Yeah.
In 2027, looking towards the future.
Wow, very cool. Yeah, look forward to
Yeah.
that. And what did you do in the venture travel space with ATTA? That's where we connected, I think, was when you were there. I thought you were the
Must
executive
have
director
been.
there, so you did a lot of stuff.
A lot of things. It's primarily like business development.
Hmm.
Early on, I was the only biz dev guy. So I always like to say that my territory was the planet. Uh, as we grew, that became a much smaller territory that included what? North America, Africa, and Australia.
Yeah, tiny.
So
Yeah,
it was massive space, impossible to cover very well, but I got to
right.
work with a lot of awesome tourism boards, of course.
I'll bet. I'll bet. Yeah. And you got
Yeah,
to travel all those places, I'll bet.
quite a bit, which was amazing for me. Didn't make my wife quite so happy. We had
Hmm.
our girls were pretty young at the time, so I would have to leave sometimes for like 12, 14-day trips to Australia or South Africa for trade shows and conferences and all sorts of other things. So
Right.
yeah, some amazing opportunities for me, and I look forward to taking my family finally to some of those places and showing them what I got to see for so many years.
Oh, yeah, they'll love the hell out of that, I'll bet. Yeah. Have they been on
Yeah.
any trips yet so far? You guys been anywhere
Yeah. I
together?
mean, on occasion, I've been invited to like site inspections or press trips. It's really
Mm-hmm.
rare these days, but occasionally someone will throw a +1 in there.
Mm.
So like I took Lillian, who's now 19. She's at
Wow.
Ohio State. I was able to take her to Bermuda a few years ago. Jasper, fortunately, is going to turn 18 just in time, but I'm going to take her to the Society of American Travel Writers Conference, which is in Istanbul in
Oh,
November.
cool.
So that's going to be pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been there. That's a great trip. Yeah, you'll have fun
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that market
Awesome.
there is unbelievable. Yeah, it's
It
pretty
is,
cool.
I've been to 35 countries, I think, 35, 36,
Hmm.
which I always say makes me kind of probably a sophomore in the travel industry, but
Yeah.
I haven't been to Turkey. So this will be a new one.
I'll bet I've been to more well, I've been to almost all the continents except Australia, believe it or not.
Okay.
But I haven't been to that many countries. So you probably for sure have me beat on countries. I usually would go to one
Well, I'm
country and hang
always,
out.
yeah, I'm always hesitant to like even bring that up. I mean, I know probably half a dozen people in the travel industry who've been to over 100, but I
Right,
always
right.
say if you've only been to Brazil, but you've been 100 times, you're still seeing new things. You're still
Yeah.
experiencing new things. It's still a fantastic, beautiful, huge country. Canada, like not
Yeah.
enough Americans go to Canada. Like there's all sorts of
Hmm.
things to do in Canada. So
Right.
yeah, if you came to me and you said I've only been to one country, but you're doing it right, that's all good,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, that's true. So what's a typical day look
Mhm.
like for you in your role as executive director of OWAA? Is there a typical
Oof,
day?
that's a great question. It's way too much time sitting at a desk.
Yeah, yeah,
As you
I can relate
know,
to that. Yeah.
those of us in the outdoor industry spend too much time talking about the outdoors and writing about the outdoors, but
Right.
sitting in an enclosed space, right?
Right.
Yeah, just tons of emails, tons of committee calls. I'm fortunate to have a really awesome and engaged board. So there's always, communications to be had with them,
Hmm.
maintaining our social media stuff and just maintaining communications with our members as well. Sometimes I can't help myself, and I'm always, trying to find new opportunities, whether it's, posting a recent part-time copywriter position that I just put up recently for our
Mm.
members to check out, or letting them know if there's a call for submissions for an award or something like that. I certainly love doing that. Today, I've already had a couple calls with some tourism boards. One, a small CVB in rural Indiana, who wants
Mm.
to know how they can get more outdoor writers to their destination. Another good one was just talking with Iowa, the state of Iowa, and their tourism department.
Oh, wow.
Same thing,
Hmm.
they've got all sorts of great outdoor opportunities. How do they get the word out? Well, that's us. We can
Exactly.
help them with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
reached
so
out
two
to a
good
handful of
conversations with
them.
those guys.
That's cool. Yeah. I've reached out to a couple of those
Mhm.
folks. One, obviously Todd out at Gulf Shores. Todd and I'm drawing a blank on her name. She's going to kill me for this, but um,
Okay.
okay,
Yep.
that's it. Thank you. And then
Mhm.
I also worked with a guy when I was at Low Pro, Frank Felice. He was in marketing
Hmm.
at Low Pro, and he's now not running tourism, but in pretty high up in tourism with Sonoma County. So I reached out to him
Oh,
about
great.
podcasting as well. Yeah. So hey, if any of you folks want to come on the show, talk about your place, love to do it. Shameless
I mean, I've
plug.
got a whole list for you, Rick.
Awesome.
We
Bring it
can get you
on.
hooked up with a bunch of tourism boards.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. That's my goal to meet more and more of those in the coming year. So
Great.
we'll hit them up. So what are a couple of the key initiatives you're working on or projects you're working on now with OWA?
A
Obviously
big
the
one
conference
is
coming up.
Fieldfast. Yeah,
Oh,
we've got the
oh,
conference.
right.
I've been cranking away on the conference, just lining up speakers for that, and we've got some great ones. Hopefully, we'll be able to announce a really nice, really impressive lineup of keynote speakers. We should
Cool.
be able to announce soon. We're also working on breakouts, and from there, we'll start to fill in all the workshop positions. But top of mind right now has definitely been Fieldfest,
Hmm.
and going back to, I mentioned, small CVB and their tourism board. Fieldfest was developed in part as a way to work better with smaller destinations.
Mm.
Not every small tourism board or agency can host our conference, which is going to be, up to 300 people or so.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Fieldfest is a much smaller event. It's a little bit more intimate, and it's kind of basically a mashup between a big press trip in a mini conference.
Oh,
So our
cool.
first one is going to be this July. Yeah, we're very excited about it. Our first one is this July in Johnson City, Tennessee. And we'll have 20 to 30 vetted outdoor media who will be attending. Then we'll probably have about another, say, 15 to 20 different regional tourism boards. Also, some brands will be there as well. We'll have a marketplace for networking. We'll have tours all around the city with lots of networking opportunities that way. We'll have a day of professional development. And just, yeah, a lot of good connectivity out in a really beautiful part of Tennessee. So very excited about that program. And this being its first one ever, we've already got some destinations that are expressing interest in holding their own in 2025.
I'll bet. I'll bet. It looks great. I unfortunately can't make that one, but it looks like a fun event and a great place too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting excited for it. Just had a session with some OWA members to chat about it last night. They were very excited about it. There were a few that were on the fence. So it was fun just to kind of sit back and watch our own members, some of whom were registered
Hmm.
already, convincing other people who hadn't registered yet to register. So it's just
Right.
like,
Right.
my job here is done.
Yeah. Yeah. Howard Fox and I have a standing, is it weekly or bi-weekly Wednesday afternoon conference call just to talk podcasting and spitball media stuff and whatnot. He's been on me about the Tennessee
Great.
thing, but can't make it. But the next one I'll be there.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah, right on. So how does the association support writers and journalists? And with all the variety of media now, podcasters and photographers and all kinds of things. What are some of the things you guys do?
Once upon a time, it was a lot simpler when everyone was
Right.
just writing
Yeah.
and taking film photos.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot more complicated trying to be relevant to the entirety of our membership, because not only do you have traditional print journalists and editors and whatnot, but yeah, we've got more and more social media influencers. We certainly got more bloggers and podcasters like you and Howard. We've got a small contingent of members who are illustrators, and I've been trying to figure out
Mm.
how to really support them. But in general, our goal is to be able to take someone who's already on the right path, somebody who's already started to get some traction, already got some published work out there,
Hmm.
and really help just crank up their career trajectory just by
Mm.
that much more. They're probably already going to get there someday. Let's get them there faster. Let's get
Hmm.
them the tools to make them better storytellers. Let's get them the connections to find new outlets. Let's make sure that we've got them covered in terms of things like a health insurance program, or just access to media rates on gear or trips. We're doing more and more press trips for our
Hmm.
members, so we're able to work with the destination to figure out who they need and connect them to the right OWA member, or just have a bunch of members apply to a bigger press trip. I've been talking to Tourism Spain, who's
Oh, wow.
one of our supporting groups, and
Yeah.
they're looking to do a press trip in the future. In the past, we've done them with Ireland. We've got a birding tour in the Black Belt region of Alabama that we're
Hmm.
looking to fill. Some more information will be coming out about that. So yeah, so a lot of connectivity between editors and freelancers, destinations and media. Guys like ultimately getting you and Howard together, just so two
Hmm.
podcasters, you guys can work together, share information. One of you might discover something new, you can immediately share it with the other, or somebody
Hmm.
has a success in one way and they can share it with the other guy. So a lot of that, a lot
Hmm.
of just bringing people together to share communal information, basically.
Yeah, Howard and I have been doing that a lot. I think I'm going to pitch to him today to expanding the group a little bit. It's just been him and I for, gosh, we've been doing it for probably a year or two. We've done workshops and breakouts at the couple of conferences now as well. So it'd be a good idea to spread that knowledge and talk to a wider group every Wednesday or every other Wednesday, whatever it is.
That'd be amazing, because with our small staff, we just can't do a lot of that.
Hmm.
But if it were member driven and you were to say like, hey, we're going to establish, call it the podcast council.
Yeah, there you go. I
And
like
yeah,
it.
just
Yeah.
just set up a recurring call, and
Yeah.
whenever other podcasters can join you, great. And if they
Hmm.
can't, no,
That's fine
no,
too.
no big deal. Catch them
Yep.
next time, right?
That's
Yeah, that'd
fine
be
too.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll pitch that to him today.
Cool.
What do you think some of the biggest challenges are facing outdoor media today?
Oh man, how long do we have? I mean, for our traditional writers, not only are a lot of their outlets disappearing, but they're paying less and less.
Hmm.
Then you've got the threat of AI, which everyone's pretty much concerned about. You've got various outlets who, in the past several months have laid off entire staff and just said, we're going to let AI do it. And maybe they retain one editor to
Right.
hopefully review
Yeah.
the
Check it
crap that's
out.
coming out of the machine.
Yep.
So there's that. Uh, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of our bloggers like continue to get crushed as um, certain large search engines continue to change their algorithms. I'm starting to see, a number of bloggers who have been very successful over the past several years, maybe even through the pandemic, and they're actually posting and asking about part-time jobs.
Wow.
And I've kind of pulled them aside, so to speak, digitally, and just said, "Hey, what's going on? How are you doing?" And they said,
Hmm.
I love my blog. One woman said, "I've had it for 15 years. It's a passion of mine, and I'm never going to let it go. But I can't make a living wage off this anymore."
Hmm.
So she's looking for additional work too. So yeah, so it seems like there are challenges at virtually every turn.
Hmm.
And we just continue to try to do everything we possibly can as their association to make sure that they're supported, or that we can provide them new ideas, new concepts. I just talked, another conversation I had yesterday was with a very successful blogger, and she was talking about different ways to monetize her blog. So she's taken a hit in terms of search, but she's basically got so many other products out there that she's able to support herself and do quite well. So I talked to her about doing a workshop at conference and then a virtual class where various OWA members can tune in, and if they're not already blogging, learn how to blog, and if they
Hmm.
are, hopefully learn some new angles on how to further monetize that.
That's a great idea. It's even hitting in podcast. You would think that podcasting, it's still growing, and I think it's still in the, first three innings of a 9 inning game,
Mm,
but it's getting hit by the traffic flows and it still hasn't, a lot of people, I was talking to somebody, it might have been Howard, but somebody the other day about how the outdoor space in particular is still, you know, thinking about embracing podcasting or supporting podcasters or whatever. And it's like, you've
yeah.
heard me say this before, the outdoor space is perfect. It's the only place where you can now talk to them 24/7, 365. You can stick an
Hmm.
earbud in their ear and they can, where anything else, you can't do that reading or watching videos or whatever. So it's just always been surprising to me, but it'll happen. It's happening slowly. All
Yeah.
these things take
Yeah.
time.
Exactly.
Yep. Is there a memorable experience or story from your time working with OWA that you can share?
Um, there's so much passion for the outdoors within our membership, outdoors and storytelling.
Hmm.
And it's just incredibly rewarding when I'm able to just post something or shoot something out. And once I send it out, I don't always hear anything about it, but there will often be times where people come back and they just say, "Oh yeah, I got that lead from you guys. Oh wow, yeah, you
Hmm.
you had that post on your social media page and I followed up and I got work out of it." Or now I'm, their copywriter, I'm their part-time, their go-to columnist, whatever it might be. So there's a nice little dribble of
Yeah, yeah.
those little victories that come through that just prove anecdotally and sometimes one by one that we are actually supporting our members and helping them with their careers, helping them get better at all the great things they do, and ultimately just being that much more successful. So there's a lot of little things like that for sure.
Yeah, it seems like a very collaborative community, and community is the right word, I think, because every time you go to these events, it's just like a reunion again, like OR used to be back in the day, high school reunion,
Yeah.
hugs and backslaps and sharing stories, and it's super fun. So yeah, I dig it. Yeah, it's great.
Which the challenge that which is great, and we're happy to have that. The challenge then becomes, how do we make sure that we're still also welcoming to brand new people?
Yeah.
Because if,
Hmm.
and I've seen this with other associations in the past, it's a good problem to have.
Hmm.
But when a new person comes in and that group is that tight, that connected, they can quickly feel like they're not part of it yet. So we have to always make sure too that we're as welcoming to the new members as possible. And when a new person comes to one of our events, be it Fieldfast or our conference,
Hmm.
that they're feeling welcomed as well.
Maybe it could be more of these, like we're talking about the podcasting group, more groups that do Zoom calls throughout the year, around the conferences, around the other events. That might be
You
one
know,
option.
you're absolutely right, and I've been thinking along those same lines. I know our hunting contingent is very passionate. I'd love to just give them a dedicated call time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we've got the Women Outdoor Writers Group. They've been
Yep.
meeting for years, once a month, and they've gotten a lot out of just that networking and connectivity. I know we had a group of some of our older members who said they'd like to connect with other writers who are just more senior, 65 plus. So we
Mm-hmm.
might start looking at that too. I've wanted to basically do this on some level for a long time. I kept looking for like a digital solution, but maybe it's just, yeah, we just set up a bunch of Google Meets and have them preset and off we
Yeah.
go, right?
Google Meets or Zoom calls. I mean, I'm on probably three of them in various places now. Some of them, two of
Yeah,
them are podcast related, but some of them are just people getting together, spitballing, and
awesome.
sometimes there's nothing but spitballing that goes on, and other times you get some nuggets of ideas and things. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. How does the association foster diversity and inclusion within the outdoor writing community?
We're really trying to make it endemic to every single thing we do. And actually, my next call is with their DEI committee.
Mm,
But
cool.
it's true. And our progress, there's progress, which is the most important thing. It is slow, and I wish it were faster, but we're making it step by
Hmm.
step. Yeah, and really just trying to do everything we can to embrace uh, outdoor storytellers from marginalized communities, historically marginalized communities, to
Hmm.
make sure that this is a place for them, and to make sure that they feel welcome here too, and
Right.
to provide them the resources that they need to be successful. And while it's taken way too long, it's just awesome that we've got partnerships with some other associations to create press trips with them, for example.
Oh, cool.
And every time I talk to them, they're like, "Okay, we've got 6 slots. Let's make sure we're going to fill X number with people who are BIPOC, or we want to
Hmm.
make sure that we have a good number of female to male ratios going on there.
Hmm.
Or if we can find outdoor storytellers from other marginalized communities, let's highlight them. Let's make sure they've got a seat here."
Hmm.
And yeah, and just really trying to extend that across the association, making sure that our speakers at conference don't look like a white guy like me. Um,
Or me, right?
really
Yeah.
trying to make sure
Yeah.
that our board or leadership isn't a bunch of white dudes. And along those lines, we've had some outstanding leadership on the board. Um, it's just some outstanding female leaders while I've been here, which has been great.
Hmm.
And our next president, our current first vice president, Amy Capp with Rails Trails Conservancy,
Mm.
will be our first person of color to be president in the
Oh,
association's
awesome.
100-year history.
Wow,
So
cool.
that's awesome. And,
That's
I
awesome.
just keep looking at our new members and trying to fill that pipeline with a group of leaders who are great leaders,
Hmm.
but again, who don't look like me.
Yeah, exactly. We all need to do that look like us.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. What advice would you give to aspiring outdoor writers looking to break into the industry?
That is a great question. And there's so many, again, how much time do we have?
Yeah, and as I'm reading it, I didn't think about this when I wrote it, but there's so many angles now to the industry, right? I mean, it's no
Exactly.
longer just
Yeah.
writing; it's photography, writing, blogging,
TikTok,
podcasting,
all
TikTok,
the
right?
things. Yeah,
Social
yeah,
media,
yeah.
blah 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 blah. Yeah.
I mean, certainly I would encourage them, if they've got that passion for both the
Hmm.
outdoors and storytelling, I would
Hmm.
certainly encourage them. One thing that not enough young people understand is just the amount of resources that associations like OWA can provide.
Hmm.
We vet our regular members to make sure that they're professional, that they have a body of work, et cetera, et cetera. But we also purposely have kind of a back door in that we have these associate member categories. And that's really for someone who's just getting started or maybe making a career change, because they can come in without having that body of work yet. And the idea being that they come in and we provide them the same resources that we provide a regular member. But again, it helps them just crank up that career trajectory,
Hmm.
helps them get started that much faster, gives
Gets
them
them
the
in the
tools
fast
and
lane
everything they
quicker.
need.
Yeah. Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, then we've got, awards for writing and photography for young people who are college students or high schools, seniors and juniors. We've got fellowships for young people who maybe can't afford to get to our conference or any other conference. It's not just for us, not just for our event. And we've had people who've won those fellowships who are going to Churchill in Canada to study polar bears. We've had
Oh
them
wow,
go
cool.
to writing workshops, photography workshops, etc. So yeah, those fellowships can be really good too,
Hmm.
because actually the fourth tenet of our mission is to really foment the next generation of outdoor storytellers. So
Hmm.
we have a whole slew of things that we can provide a young person to help them get started. Not to mention, we have a student membership that's $30. So if
Yeah.
someone's enrolled in a school, no matter what school, we've got people who are student members who are in undergrad, and we've got at least one that I know of who's getting her PhD. So she's a
Wow.
student too.
Hmm.
So for $30, they can be a member as well.
That's cool. Well, we'll link to that in the show notes for sure. That's
Great.
yeah. I think I did know about that. Hey, would you kayak more if your boat fit easily in the trunk of your car or the back of your car? No roof rack needed? No, seriously. I'm guessing you'll paddle more if you don't have to go through the process. Move the car, get the ladder, remove the kayak from the racks in the garage, put the racks on the car, load the kayak, then do it all over again when you get to the water. Get the step stool, unload the kayak. You know the drill. Oru Kayaks to the rescue. They have transformed the way we connect to the outdoors. Oru kayaks are lightweight and incredibly strong. They fold down to fit in most cars. Oru's innovative origami-inspired living hinge lets you assemble them in about 1 minute, and they're designed for versatility, able to handle calm lakes, rivers with mild currents, and even coastal waters with ease. And Oru is offering Outdoor Biz listeners a great deal. Go to orukayak.com and use code ODBIZORU15, that's ODBIZORU15, and get 15% off your new kayak today. That's ODBIZORU15, and that code is good until July 31st. Get on it. Then send us pictures of your first adventure. Now let's get back to the show. How does OWA collaborate with other organizations within the outdoor space, like brands and outfitters and obviously tourism boards? But I'm thinking more of the outdoor retailer. Think of it as the outdoor retailer group. Those folks, brands and manufacturers and all
I'll be completely honest.
that.
In the past almost 5 years, there has not been a lot of great brand engagement
Mm.
from outdoor gear companies.
Hmm.
We've got more than 630 vetted outdoor media. We don't have a single bag company who's even a
Wow,
supporting group member.
really?
I don't even think we have an apparel company right now. We
Huh.
have one footwear brand. Shout out to Loa, who's been a
Loa's been
great
there for
partner of ours
years. Yeah.
for a long time. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. So there's just ample opportunity here on the brand side. And, we have had some great brands. Toyota's been a great partner for many
Hmm.
years.
Yep.
I mentioned Loa, they've been outstanding.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of space here. And someone can come in here, some brand could come in here. Let's pick on a backpack and luggage company. They could come in here and not only basically own the space, but they could own the category within the space
Right.
because their competition is not here. And
Hmm.
before you know it, just even, must be present to win.
Yeah. Right.
Just by being present, our members are going to get to know that brand and they're going to
Hmm.
start using that brand, and that brand's going to start popping up in all their gear reviews or recommendations,
Yep.
and certainly word of mouth to their friends and things. So there's a lot of opportunity here for more and more outdoor brands to get involved.
That's like the PR firm on steroids getting involved with OWA, right? I mean, you think about some of the work, like some smaller brands, they all have their PR firms, and they do their level best getting gear out and getting reviews and stuff. But here it's like, you come to the conference and it's one-stop shopping. Everybody's there.
They're
You
all
don't
there.
need to, yeah, they're all there, and they're all going to go out and do great, incredible, creative things in all kinds of different media. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, that conference should be up to 300 people this year, and it's 72% media, 72% vetted outdoor media.
Wow. Yeah.
So if someone were to show up, again, let's pick on bags or apparel or whatever. Someone would show up, and for $400 in addition to registration, they get an exhibit table. Yeah, they're going to have, like I said, the category to themselves.
And you get everybody walking by after the breaks and lunches and all that stuff. It's
yeah, throw a little more budget in there, and buy a round of beers or two, and you're just going to make friends left and right.
Some swag, yeah, exactly.
Some swag, absolutely.
Yeah.
What
are some of the? Do you have any insights on the current trends and developments in the outdoor media world?
Most of what we touched on earlier, just in terms of the challenge of working with traditional outlets. I was very fortunate in that I had a friend who knows I'm a vet, and they asked me to write an article for a friend's publication that I hadn't written for before. It was about yoga for vets. And as I started doing the research and talking to the VA and everything else, I learned these amazing stories about healing with vets doing yoga. Even my own medic, I talked to him, and he discovered, and he's been very open with this story, he had checked into a psych ward in Salt Lake City because things were that bad with his PTSD. He discovered yoga at first there as part of their mandated therapy. And at first, he and every other new guy was like, yoga, forget that. And then soon after, they're all like, oh, when's yoga day? I can't wait. So I kind of getting off topic, but I wrote this story, and and then it was like months and months and months. I think I submitted it in January, December, maybe. It still hasn't run, and finally got back in touch with my editor, and she's just like, I'm so overwhelmed. We're so understaffed right now.
Oh, yeah.
She was super apologetic, and she's a wonderful woman. But it's just an example of what a lot of these outlets are going through. And so she has a great idea for a story, commissions someone like me to write it, and then doesn't even have the time to really get to it, much less post it yet.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of uncertainty, instability, things like that going on across a lot of these outlets. And then you throw in, again, the specter of AI taking everyone's writing away from them. And it becomes very, very unsettling, to say the least.
Well, and I think it gives rise to all these independent outlets, right? Like podcasts and blogs and things, and start your own thing. I mean, that's one of the offshoots of it. And I know it's not easy. Believe me.
That's a great point. Yeah.
It's taken me a lot of years to get this podcast where it is. But, grinding every Tuesday, it's like, what am I doing? But it's very rewarding that way, I think, when you're doing it yourself. So that's an option.
That's an awesome point too. And going back to what you're saying about my suggestions for someone who is just getting into the world of becoming a professional outdoor storyteller, I would say the same thing. Go develop your own thing and own it.
Yeah.
That way you're not pitching all the time. That way you're not at the whim of editors or people who might cut your story at the last minute for whatever weird reasons, outlets closing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then it's yours and you own it. Yeah.
And like they used to tell us on the football practice field, be so good they can't ignore you.
I love that.
I mean, that's kind of, that's what you have to do. You just go out there and you do all your research and do all your homework and practice and polish your craft, and don't be afraid to stumble and bumble. But if you just drop something once a week, boom, 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 I've been doing it since 2017, then eventually it becomes a thing and people start reaching out. So, yeah.
Yeah. And within that, from there, then find your community.
Yeah.
Whether it's an association like OWAA, there's a zillion other ones out there. I'm heavily involved in the Society of American Travel Writers. There are various regional outdoor writers groups, state and regional ones. I think there are 14 nationally. yeah, there's, specific events for people who are bloggers. So
Right.
yeah, you can go out and find your community. And frankly, along similar lines, if you can't find it, you can start to build it.
Make it. Exactly. Yep.
Hmm.
Exactly. Yep. And every little activity has its group or groups,
Yes,
whether it's elk
absolutely.
hunting or trout fishing or whatever. It's all,
Hmm.
they're all there. So yeah. How do you envision the future of outdoor storytelling and content creation? It's going to continue to be more and more digital?
More and more digital, absolutely. Till the point that everyone's oversaturated with digital, and somebody realizes that they can sell a book, a paper book, right? It'll all come back around at some point.
I think they still
Um,
can. I think they still can. I'm still a book buyer, so maybe I'm an old guy,
I
but
love books. I absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
same.
But I do think it'll become more and more digitally focused for sure, and more independent, kind of like along the lines of what we were just saying. It's really going to be up to the individual storyteller
Hmm.
to find their platform, to find their media, and to embrace it and own it, be it podcasting, be it TikTok, be it whatever fits best for them. And who
Hmm.
knows what other platforms or concepts or what else might be coming on the horizon that will just
Right,
keep disrupting everything we're doing.
right. And there's all kinds of resources to help too. I mean, don't if you're a great writer, a great photographer, but you like shy away from the self-publicizing, self-promoting. There's people to do that for you. There's people to. I recently hired someone to do all the social media because I don't can't keep track of that stuff. It's holy cow. So
That's that's
there's
a that's a
always
particularly great point when it comes to writers who are by nature, kind of more introverted
yeah, yeah,
and maybe not the best publicists, but yeah,
hmm
like you said, you can find those folks to help you too.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. What excites you the most about the future of outdoor writing and journalism?
Um, Honestly, for me right now, it's also focused on OWA that I'm most excited about that.
Hmm.
I took over the organization just a few months before COVID hit, spent, 2 years not meeting a single member during that time, and but also got to really dive into the guts of the organization, really got to focus on a lot of the internal things, fix that website, for example, right
Yeah.
away. That was priority number one. And a number of things like that. And, working with the board, working with all of our great volunteers, we've continued to just, I mean, I keep saying this, talking to other people, but I really think we've reinvented just about everything we do in the past 5 years. And so now I'm really excited for some real growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been hitting the road a lot, maybe sometimes a little too much, but getting out to the adventure and travel show, for example.
Hmm.
I'm going to be speaking. I spoke at the New Mexico Governor's Conference on Tourism, the Texas Travel Alliance. I'm going to be speaking in upstate New York in
Cool.
a couple weeks, talking to their tourism industry association. So really trying to get out there and beat the drum and let people know that we're available, we're a resource. We can help a destination that's focused on the outdoors and
Hmm.
wants to showcase its outdoors. We're those people.
Exactly.
So I'm really excited for that right now.
That's going to be some fun stuff to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Travel
It's always
out.
great
Yeah.
to get out there and see different parts of the country and get to explore, of course. That's just in my
Exactly.
nature.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Let's shift gears here as we wrap up. What's your favorite piece of outdoor gear under $100?
Ooh, oh boy. How much time do we have?
It's
I've
good to
got
know that you
this.
have a bunch of them because everybody struggles to find one.
Well, this is the thing, and this is the thing that I want to write an article about. Is like, we get so fixated in the outdoor industry about the next new amazing piece of gear, which is
Yep.
great.
Hmm.
I want to celebrate the old stuff.
Yep.
Like, I want to have a party at an outdoor retailer or some other place where everybody wears products from brands that are now gone.
Hmm.
And it's a celebration of people who took risk and took chances.
Hmm.
I've got a jagged edge vest I still wear.
Wow.
I love it,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, there's a ton of stuff. I've got a beloved vest from REI that I may have bought when I was working the floor.
Mm.
It's just a little simple black vest. The zipper is broken, and so I have to pull it over my head. It's got the old REI logo on there, but it's such a great, really accessible piece just to throw in a bag. It's thin,
Hmm.
so it just goes over things very easily and is just toasty warm and just great. And now just like beloved.
Yeah. I have the same.
I
I have
rare.
a Montbell rain shell from when I was a rep
Oh,
in 1989.
nice, nice.
Love
I
it.
love it.
Yeah. Love it.
So you can imagine an event. I call it the Dead Brands Party, which maybe isn't the best name in the world, but yeah, just an event where everybody comes and they wear their moonstone, they wear their jagged edge. Mont Bell. Let's bust that stuff out because a lot of us are still using it.
Yeah.
This stuff is made to be bomber, and that's why it's still around. So
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about old gear.
Yeah, I have a bunch of old gear too, just because it's it doesn't wear out. Why I don't need a new one.
Yeah,
why get a new one?
Exactly.
I got this jacket is great. It's waterproof. It's got pit zips from 1989. Who thought of that? Back then.
All the brands that are listening in are all groaning right now because they're like, no, buy more stuff.
Well, it's funny. I was a couple things happened to me this week. One, I was on Meg Carney's podcast. I think it just dropped yesterday. And we were talking about brands and all the stuff. And I said, somewhere along the line, we all have to learn the native concept of enough. We don't always need more. We just need enough. Mm-hmm. And it seems like, particularly in the outdoor space, we're always making more and more and more. It's always about more. Capitalism drives that, and I get that. But at some point, the world can't handle anymore. So
exactly that. I think it's in our nature when we go to outdoor retail or anywhere else, you see all those beautiful new bags and skis and everything else. And, your innate lust takes over.
And some of the technology, the newer technology is phenomenal, but you got to step back and say, do I really need that?
Well, some of it's really overkill too. I mean, I keep getting pitches for things like bike helmets with speakers in them and stuff. And I want a bike helmet to protect my head. Yeah. That's all it's got to do. I don't need to be hooked up to everything else. The point of getting on my bike is to get away from that stuff.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. How about a couple of your favorite books? I'm sure you read a lot with all the travel you do.
I don't read enough. And my addiction is, I love literature as a writer, but my addiction is always military history. And I force myself that whenever I read one book of military history, I have to read something else next. And so I'm, because the movie's coming out, I read the book a while ago, but the Bureau of Ungentlemanly Warfare, movie's coming out, and I read the book a while ago, so I'm rereading that now. And with a teen in the house, it's been fun to be reintroduced to a lot of the classics. When she was like, oh man, I hate this book. I have to read for English. I said, what is it? And she said, All Quiet on the Western Front. I was like, oh, let me have that when you're done. And so she finished 1984 a little while ago. So I'm rereading that now too. Wow. Which is fascinating. I don't think I've read that book since 1983, by the way.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same with some of the great classics, stories and stuff, and then more on the adventure side of things. But yeah, there's so many great books. Yeah, never too much time. As we wrap up, how can people reach out and follow up with you if they'd like to pick your brain or just say hi?
Yeah, I'd love to connect. I'm on LinkedIn, Chez, C-H-E-Z, Chesak, C-H-E-S-A-K. Our website for OWAA is owaa.org. And then my freelance website is chesconnects.com.
Excellent. Well, we'll put that stuff in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Always. I hope so.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Be sure to visit our website, theoutdoorbizpodcast.com, where you'll find show notes with links to everything we talked about and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or spread the word and tell a friend. That would really help us out too. Be sure to tune in every week. And thanks again for listening to the Outdoor Biz Podcast with Rick Sayes.